Welcome back to Daily Mail FTM, everyone. I'm Lucas, and it's Sunday, and this week we are writing letters to our past selves. Um, a little bit of a warning: there is a little bit of talk of self harm in this particular letter to myself, um, because I used to be somebody who did that to themselves. Trying to word that very sensitively. I know it's a sensitive subject, so if that offends you or upsets you in any way, I apologize. But it's something I went through, and talking about it is sometimes better for you than just holding it in. Um, so I wanted to incorporate that into my letter because it was a substantial part of my childhood and growing up and figuring myself out. And yeah, so my letter starts basically, and I'll just read it. It's about 3 pages, but I have very messy writing and very big writing, so it's not like it's going to be super long. But I'll just basically read it paragraph by paragraph, and it kind of starts from about like before like elementary school, young elementary school, and then all the way up until graduation, and then a little bit until now. So just a heads up. All right, so from an early age, you just never knew how to put it into words. You knew you were more like your older cousin, who you spent hours with playing in the sandbox and building Lego castles. The times you the times you pondered late at night why your body wasn't really right, and wishing to wake up to it be different and more aligned with how you felt, but really you didn't know what it meant at this time. I really didn't know what it meant. I'll go on with that after. Why sex education in grade 6 and continuing into high school was confusing, because you didn't understand why you didn't have certain body parts, and it hit even harder when you got your period for the first time, and you cried not because you were excited, but because you were very disgusted with yourself and why you were experiencing this. Because a lot of people know, trans people especially know that puberty isn't fun for anybody. But I mean, like when you have go through puberty, and it's not, it's harder to go through puberty, and even if you don't know that you're trans and you don't figure it out till later, this can be hard. It's not easy. I remember the first time you binded your chest, and when you went to a movie with your family, and you were embarrassed. The development of breasts and the lumps on your chest were embarrassing, and you wanted to hide them. And yes, I can't remember exactly when it was. I probably was about 11 or 12. It was before high school. I know that, and I binded my chest, and I have vivid memories of this when I was younger, and it was very unsafe. But I was never exposed to what transgender or even the term binding was. So the fact that I had did this and I have recollections of that is astounding in my mind, because I had no, like, nothing that would have shown me that that was what you would do. I just did it, kind of thing, which was weird. As you reached high school, things would only get worse, as not only did you not fit in, you were publicly exiled for expressing yourself. Girls made fun of you because you had short hair and shopped in the boys section or wore your cousin's hand-me-downs. You would only use the washroom when no other girl was in there, otherwise you would be asked to leave, because it apparently made them uncomfortable because they didn't know if you were actually a girl or not. In grade 10, 3 girls scratched, and I'm going to be using derogatory terms here, because this actually happened. No word of a lie. And so this is a bit of a warning for anybody who doesn't like certain derogatory terms, but I'm using them because this is my personal letter and this actually happened to me, so using these words is just a way of me getting over it, kind of thing, but I'm warning you ahead of time. So 3 girls had scratched Fag and Dyke into my locker with keys, broke into my locker, and stole my MP3 player and some other things, and you knew who they were, and no one would soon find out until the scars on my arms forced an answer out of me by your parents. Sorry, I'm trying to read this in like first person or however that is, because I'm trying to like speak to myself, so if it's confusing, I apologize. And even after your parents gave the names of the offenders to the principal, they did nothing, because apparently girls don't bully, and I was asking to be made fun of because of how I presented myself and how I dressed and how I acted, apparently. The same year, not once but twice, the same girls trashed your bike outside the school to the point you couldn't even ride it home that day. Therapy didn't help any, because you really didn't know what was wrong anyway, and everybody made assumptions about you. The term transgender was not introduced to you until grade 12, and even then you didn't fully understand it, and it scared you. You wore a dress to grad and decided to present yourself as a woman because you were even more confused after you figured it out, and you were a little bit scared to admit it, and you didn't want to be made fun of, and you were told it was like a expectation of women, not anybody in particular, but women, is just to present yourself in that fashion. And so that's basically what I did because I didn't know any better, and that's what I was pressured into doing by my parents. Most even you couldn't understand what was going on entirely, but eventually you couldn't take it anymore, and it took a lot of sleepless nights to accept yourself as who you are. Once you did, a letter you spent all night writing got left on the kitchen table for your parents to see early in the morning, but not even your deepest confession could make them understand completely, or at all in my parents' case. 3 years of arguing, screaming, and fighting, and being kicked out a few times are still here. You are still here, sorry. You have done all of this yourself, and externally, if I could meet myself as a person, I would be proud of myself through all that I went through in high school and at home and all of this stuff to bring and I'm still here, and I'm doing everything outside of what my family thinks, and what certain other people in my life think, and what society thinks of trans people. I'm still here, and every trans person has the right to be proud of themselves and be happy with what they've accomplished and what they've been through, because the fights that you go through every single day, from the day that you first noticed that you were different or had different feelings about things, you should be proud of yourself, and that should be rewarded. So that's a wrap for this week's video. I'll see you guys next week, and yeah, so have a good week, everyone.